Oh, sweet. I've always wanted to do a win streak video. This certainly isn't overdone by now, is it? Well, that's awkward. Hi guys, Brain here, and welcome to another commentary video. I wanted to talk about win streaking today because recently I started my very own win streak on the Xenomorph, and I have a very interesting historical relationship with win streaks and the fact that I've kind of mostly hated them, both from a play as perspective and to play against, and even as to watch. I've just never been a huge fan of win streaks. I've always been of the opinion that if you're running at least 3 slowdown and playing a fairly alright killer, that, well, you should be winning all of your matches, right? And it's weirder that you're not. So I've never found it either entertaining or impressive for that reason. But after trying it, I feel like I kind of get it. I feel like I kind of get the appeal now. So yeah, go ahead and talk about it. On the first day that I was doing this, I found myself kind of maintaining the stance that I had already had, that I don't enjoy win streaking. At best, I was rolling teams that really weren't equipped at all to deal with the level of intensity and sweat that I was bringing into the game. Or at worst, the matches were super stressful because now it's not just, oh, if I lose this match, who cares? Now I'm losing the whole streak. So my anxiety would go through the roof. I would be trying my own sweaty balls off to try and make the win happen, even though it was really hard. And I kept thinking to myself, who enjoys this? Because at best I'm bored, and at most I'm extremely stressed. Who likes this? But once I found a build that actually consistently worked for me and started playing really aggressively, I've sort of seen the light now. You see, one of the most frustrating aspects of Dead by Daylight is that it's always been filled with these things that are extremely frustrating that kind of, in a sense, play the game for you, for lack of a better term. These being really strong perks, really strong items, really strong add-ons. They just kind of rule the game. It doesn't matter if you're a top 5 player and a killer or anything impressive. If the other team plays safe and brings perks, items, the whole lot, your chances of winning are fairly slim regardless. Even if you're playing a balance build that has a couple slowdown, a 4 toolbox team on comms is likely just going to blow you out of the water even if you try really hard. And there's not much you can really do about that situation, which feels really bad. Those moments are extremely frustrating because it doesn't really feel like you got beat by the other players. It doesn't feel like they played more impressively. It doesn't feel like the superior player won. It just feels like they brought better stuff. It feels like they just preloaded better builds and items, and that's what beat you and not the players behind the screen, and it feels like you just got cheesed. However, if you constantly have the best in-slot add-ons and perks equipped, you kind of have the freedom to play however you want, regardless of the sweat of the team that you're facing. Like, if you run into a team that's bringing all meta perks and sweating like behavior has their family held below the HQ, you brought the exact same thing. So you are more than equipped to actually defeat and show these players that, like, hey, when somebody's playing on the same level you are, you can't take advantage of me. I'm going to win. At that point, it's quite literally may the best man win, because you're not being cheesed by an overwhelming amount of meta perks or items or add-ons, because you also brought the most oppressive stuff. So they have to just face the music. Conversely, if you run into a team that's clearly not bringing the best perks, items, and etc., you have the freedom to just pull your punches and drag out the game so it feels a little bit more fair for both sides. I've done that a lot, which is kind of precarious to do in a win streak. I do not recommend it, but you can, even in a win streak, just go, it's 5 gens, somebody's already dead. Like, I can extend the game a little bit. It's not going to be the end of the world because these guys are probably having a miserable time. So I can extend the game out a little bit. I can choose to pull punches. To summarize this all succinctly, it's better to be prepared for the worst and be able to handle it if it comes than to not be prepared at all and have some of the worst TBD experiences possible, because they really are. Those games where you just get beat because it's a 4-man B&P squad, it's some of the worst experiences you can have in this game. It feels so bad. There are plenty of games where I'm running a couple slowdown, I'm not even playing the Xenomorph, and I find myself against a really sweaty team, and I just wish I could have been in a better position to punish them for that super intense sweaty gameplay that they brought into the match. I even had a moment like this last week. I was playing on Disturbed Ward as Myers, and I was playing just my usual casual build, and I'd only had Pain Res and Surge. And they sweated their balls off. They tried really hard, and it went about as well as you thought it would. I think I got 1 kill, and that was it. And I remember saying in that moment, I really hope you enjoy your next 8 blights, because, well, that's what a team like that needs to match their energy. Obviously, a guy playing a C-tier killer without good perks besides 2 of them is not going to be a fair match for them, and a lot of teams like this really relish in that extra advantage they have just by preloading everything. But however, if I was running my Xenomorph win streak build in playstyle, it would have been an actually fairly balanced game, and there could have been fun to be had on both sides. Even if that game broke the streak with a tie, it would at least feel like I had a fair shot at winning, instead of it just being on a C tier character with a mid build without much say in the matter. Now, there's somebody probably already down in the comments who's upset or angry because I am encouraging win streaking and ruining the health of the game as a result, and they're gonna quit the game because I recommended this and blah blah blah. You know, it's DBD YouTube. People just be angry all the time. People like being upset. To that I say, well, realistically, I'm not too happy about the situation either. I think the fact that I've had so much fun win streaking kind of airs out the fact that DBD in its current state is extremely sweaty. If the most fun I've had in the game is when I'm already hard locked into trying as hard as possible out of the gate. I'm someone who typically, when not on a win streak, just kind of plays to quote unquote match the energy of the other side. If you're chill, we're chilling. But if you sweat at me, I'm going to sweat right back. But if I'm being honest, I've had some pretty unfun matches lately, and the reason for that is mostly when it comes down to those teams who are preloading like 4 BNPs or oops all meta perks and all this stuff, and it doesn't feel like I truly have a chance. And that doesn't also help that a lot of these players like to interact with the killer the least amount possible. They like to just pre-throw pallets from like 10 yards away. They like to slam gens. They don't like to interact with the killer. And it truly sucks that in order to avoid these miserable games, you have to hard lock in overloaded PS just to be prepared, just in case for a team like that. Honestly, I could make a whole separate video about this topic alone, but I think it just really shows a core issue with Dead by Daylight is that the best building strategies often incorporate safe and cheesy gameplay, as you can do this just for the easiest path for victory and get rewarded for it. At least with a lot of the meta killer slowdowns, it requires a full chase down and hook in order to make like a pain res, a grim, a dead man, something like that go off. It doesn't just happen for falling off a building or vaulting through a window or hitting a hard skill check. These things aren't that relatively difficult, but are completely game changing in every single way. If we're talking about the killer slowdown conversation, that means that survivors end up having to redo gens over and over and over. The progress that they have already put into that gen, they're sitting there having to redo it over and over and over, which once again kind of, you know, circles back into itself of like, hey, those people are not interacting with the killer because they have to redo all this gen progress that they already did if they want to stand a chance of escaping. And it just feels like the game is kind of slowly encouraging this whole, like, you know, anti-interaction thing, which is, ooh, that's a shady place to be going. But what am I trying to say here? Why am I just yapping so much? Basically, what I'm trying to say is that I tried win streaking, and to my surprise, I actually liked it, because I was prepared for those really gnarly sweaty teams that you get time to time. However, I do think that it spells out a really bleak reality that this game is getting further and further hard-locked into a sweaty gameplay, because it's either get with it or get stomped by it. Yeah, what do you think? Do you think that DBD is moving towards a spot where win streaking and sweating is going to be more required? Or do you think DBD could still survive with casual gameplay still? Let me know down in the comments below. But other than that, that's gonna be it for today's video, friends. Thank you so much for watching. Hopefully I made your day a little bit better today, but if I didn't, I have the chance to do it again in the next video. But hopefully I'll see you then. But if I do not, I'll see you when I see you. Goodbye.